And we are live. This is All We Do podcast. I'm your host, Davran Boss, and today we'll take you through the journey of life through different lenses, including philosophy, the school of life, technology, a little bit of mathematics, religion, and you can expect more love from us as well across these different topics. With me is my co-host.
Hey everyone, my name is JD and I am your host at All We Do podcast, and this is the beginning of something great, something awesome.
I'm Davran Boss, and just to kick off, we're going to start with a few updates from this week. So this week, Francis Ngannou joined PFL just after having ditched UFC early this year. The move has been met up by a lot of controversy.
Yeah.
Dana White is throwing tantrums left, right, and center. What do you think about Francis' move to the UFC, and what do you think it's going to bring to the sport of mixed martial arts?
I mean, like before Francis Ngannou moved, I never knew PFL actually existed. Like I think he's probably going to change that game, but myself, I actually didn't even think he'd pull it off first because I saw his stand for wanting to get a contract with like being a board member at UFC, and I laughed it off and I was like, this guy's not serious. But he knew what he was doing, so yeah, I think it's a pretty big move.
I mean, UFC was not allowing him to fight for the rights of other players, so he was like a sacrificial lamb. So when he left the UFC, these people have actually given him a contract where he's allowed to box this year. So chances are he's going to box people like what's this guy's name? Is it Anthony Joshua? Not Anthony Joshua. Fury, Tyson Fury. But is it Tyson? I think it's Tyson Fury who was saying that fighting Francis does not favor him in any way. He loses. If he loses, they'll say he's not fought like a real boxer or something.
Yeah.
And if he wins, if he loses, they'll say that he didn't go to. He was beaten by somebody who didn't specialize in boxing.
Yeah.
And if he wins, it will be like he beat somebody who didn't specialize in boxing.
I mean, like, I don't know, like, I kind of feel like it's, at the end of the day, Tyson Fury is a legend in his own right, and like, someone like Francis Ngannou, he probably would have to practice a lot more. Like, you just can't get out of UFC and go to boxing. I actually have not seen any successful guys who've been from UFC and gone straight into boxing and actually, like, dominated boxing world.
I mean, if Jake Paul is a YouTuber and is
Come
beating
on, man.
up
That guy is
lot
trash,
of,
man. Like,
yeah, but he's really been beating up the UFC
which
fighters.
guys? He's
like the
beating
UFC
useless
fighters,
guys.
Yeah, the UFC fighters who actually
Like
the
retired
UFC.
people and old
Yeah.
people. Like, he needs to go and fight the real guys. Like, I'm sure if Jake Paul was going to fight,
But it's just boxing matches. It's not full MMA. But this time I think he has a match against Nate Diaz later this year.
But like, that's like, if you put Jake Paul and Nate Diaz, like, that's death, bro. Like, again, just consider putting Jake Paul and someone like the name of this Brazilian who Adesanya beat recently.
Oh, Alex
Yeah,
Pereira.
like you like
Alex
put
will kill him.
exactly my point, man.
Alex will
Like,
definitely kill him. But again,
Jake
Jake can also box. You can't underestimate that.
no, man. Like, he's like, there's a difference with people who actually do it for a living and someone who does it for, just
Exhibitions.
Yeah.
Like most of these fights is a famous YouTuber, then he hooks up with a famous fighter who does not know how to promote himself. So since Jake knows how to promote himself, they can pretty create something big and pull crowds, and people will watch it because people want to see somebody who does not have the origins of a fighter lose, or it's somebody who is equally hated and loved. So people love those type of scenarios. So some people will watch to see him win, to prove a point that they can be anything, and some people will watch to see him lose to prove that MMA is still the sport.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Speaking of which, look at the sport industry of Kenya, the promotion industry of boxing and mixed martial arts. When this Madonga Mtukazi
Yeah, I
came
remember
around
that.
here, you see the guy reigned.
Yeah,
So
quite controversial. Yeah.
we don't
showman.
yeah, we don't even know the name of the entertainment company that he was representing, but he really came forth, and it just goes without saying that we need a sports, like a sports promotion company in Kenya, because nobody's really doing it. Like, that is somewhere we are missing out on. So much money would have been made, and we don't have boxing commentators, we don't have mixed martial commentators.
Yeah.
But I've seen some mixed martial arts growing in Kenya. I just can't remember the name of the organization.
Yeah.
So we've had guys come from Uganda. They've been fighting Kenyans at KU, sometimes at KICC. But it's the sport is not predominant yet in the country. Maybe because we still don't have those regulations that are streamlined. The way mixed martial arts evolves, it takes time.
Yeah, but I think there's some pretty dope guys as well who are trying to do things. There's a good friend of mine. He's called Victor Mutua. I think he's running his own startup. It's called Noga Sports or something like that. So he's doing an amazing job. He's trying to change the game actually, and and even myself, because I have a passion of playing tennis, so I'm trying to do something for
the sport.
Yeah. So, but yeah, you're very right. I feel like we could do more.
Sports promotion.
Yeah.
Sports promotion, like just a company that deals only with sports promotion. That's all it does. Because most of these companies try to also have people under them, manage people, and also trying to promote them.
Yeah.
It's more like in the music business, the way promoters do it. So you have a promotion company, you have a management company, just different companies doing different aspects of the sport, which is really lacking in the mixed martial arts within Africa. So these guys, the PFL guys, have Francis to be in charge of Africa, PFL in Africa.
Yeah.
He'll be the one.
Also, there's an African branch kind of thing. Like, but what's PFL actually? Like, what does it mean?
PFL. I'm not sure. It's just not PFL. It's just like the way UFC.
Wait, hold on. Let me just check it out. Like, I don't know what PFL means.
I need to be very sure what it means. So the thing is, Dana was saying that UFC will be in Africa in 23.
I mean, like, I don't know if like Africa would be the best place, especially for UFC. I feel like Africa just needs to come with its own brand and just do its own thing. But again, UFC, I feel like it's already in Africa because there's so many South African players. They host different tournaments of UFC and scouts.
But that's more like, there's mixed martial arts generally. So UFC is a company that manages fighters. So we have UFC Europe, UFC Asia, UFC within North and South America. So it's more like that. So the thing is, if we have UFC Africa, then we will have the UFC coming as a franchise the same way. That's the way the company kind of works. So they have a president maybe in Europe, another president in Africa. That's how they kind of operate.
So yeah, so I've just checked it out. So PFL is Professional Fighters League. Founded, I think, in 2017 by a VC. Interesting, man. Like a VC founded. So he's called Don Davis in 2017, launched in 2018, and then they were acquired by a former World Series fighting promotion. I think it's MMAX Investment Partners. So yeah.
Oh, so if the company was it's been founded by a VC, it reminds me of this French founder who was at Dial Africa during the pitch day. He was talking about the way founders can go to war, can fight like mixed martial arts, and then the best founder is rewarded by a VC, is given some money by a VC. So if you are like Dial Africa and we have a different company, you go head to head. You train. I mean, you have somebody in the company.
Bro, if it was like that, I think we'd have raised all the money we're raising right now. Because then, like, man, I'd be hitting the gym every day.
It's training.
Yeah.
It's either boxing.
Plus, I don't even think you need to. You probably just need to be confident, and like, I just get into the fight. I think a lot of different founders would have raised so much money if that was the case. Like, you have to get into a ring, fight someone, get funding. But I think it also kind of simplifies how easy it is to basically, secure funding than how hard it is. Because one, like, raising capital in Africa is especially if you're a black founder, if you don't have like a white face in the company.
It's hell.
Yeah, it's hell. Because again, like they usually have to, do extra vetting processes. They don't trust what you say, and especially if you have like people who are investing from different parts of the world. And I think one of the worst things that I have experienced in our current fundraising journey is there's very few local investors, and most of them prefer to invest in real estate. They prefer to invest in tangible assets that they can actually feel. So when you talk to them about software, when you talk to them about the future of how things are changing, future of the world, artificial intelligence and all, like they never get what that means.
So I can imagine how hard it can be for somebody who has been in the real estate sector, or somebody who's used to brick and mortar model of businesses to just jump into the software business, especially in Kenya. It's really hard to explain these concepts to them.
Yeah, bro. But I think also it just depends with how educated you are. Because at the end of the day, like I feel like brick and mortar, yes, it's a dying age of business. It still exists, but I feel with the use of technology, it could make it better. It could make brick and mortar more fluid. Could change the game for a lot of other businesses. I think one of our main investors, actually, he owns a bank, and the things that he's been doing before was brick and mortar. They're called Oak Capital from Nigeria. And man, it's funny how Nigerians, like, those guys are beasts, man. And they believe in their people, and they believe in Africans. So it's strange how we don't believe in our own people locally. Even when you look at from a music perspective, entertainment, even in sports, bro, like Nigerians support each other. But us here locally, it would be very hard for you to like know local music guys. Probably, as you said earlier, like different sports segments have been neglected. Yeah, so.
But I mean, I feel like the Kenyan music industry collapsed like ages ago. Like it's not, or music is rather not a sustainable business in Kenya, based off the complaints that we've been having from artists and everything that has been going on. Artists skyrocket and then they're down, and then it's just a loop of even performers, just generally performers and other artists. So. To survive in this economy, I think you probably need like 7 businesses or something. If they're small businesses, or trust me, you need like 7.
Always.
Or something like that. Because if you rely on one business or one source of money of income, you'll be messed. You'll be seriously messed.
Yeah, true, man. But I feel like again, they're very talented musicians out here, unheard of. Recently, I just discovered this. Artist called Winyo. Dude is doing amazing things, and
he's been there, man. He's been there for the longest.
And people don't know him until recently. There's also some pretty decent Kenyan DJs who are trying to change the game. People like Kato Change, and also Suraj. They're doing an amazing job. But beyond that, I feel like there's a new breed of artists that haven't been heard of. I've listened to some pretty good music. And I'm like, man, like I think people just don't listen to this guys.
They don't get enough attention, the attention that they deserve. Like, but then the music scene is also getting corrupted right now. So even when you're getting into there's a time when some artists already jumped into using AI before others. Like some discovered AI before others. So
locally, here in Kenya.
Not in Kenya, internationally. So they already had this.
Bro, like I'd be shocked if there's a Kenyan artist who uses AI for anything, bro. Like I don't know. Like I feel we fear change. I don't know for some reason, fear of the unknown.
So you saw what happened with Spotify. Spotify was pulling down all the music that was made using AI.
Oh wow, why?
Yeah, because initially there's some artists in the States who had just, infused their music with AI. They had learned the patterns of, the way the human brain works. They hired like those scientists to do research and all that. So AI would help them to construct their music. So they went and they hit like peak.
Yeah.
And then everybody jumped into the AI bandwagon. And then now it was no longer as enticing as it was. That's when you saw this the advent of house music. Now people are now going to shows because every music was just kind of melodish.
Yeah.
There's a time when these melodies were kind of close, just the way we have Afrobeats right now, nearly the same.
And
beats.
also my piano and
It was something like that. And then recently you saw even Spotify was pulling down music from their site, any music that was made using AI because of that. And then Hollywood, they banned anything like these scripts written by ChatGPT, because guys were now doing that, making movies at home and doing all these things. Like if we wanted to have a discussion that would hit, for example, we would just go to ChatGPT and ask what are the top most trending topics. But we will be discussing things that maybe we're not interested in.
Again, as I said, I think it's just fear of the unknown. People fear what they don't know or what they don't know how to use. Because AI is not going to like take away people's job for quite some time, like 20, 30 years to come. It's going to take some time, yeah. So I feel like people are just afraid of what they don't know,
Yeah, people find it usually very difficult to embrace change. Embracing change is one of the most painful things.
Yeah.
I mean, even in other aspects of your life, emotionally,
And that's
mentally.
why we are still backwards in Africa. I feel like religion kind of, enslaved us in some sense. I mean, you look at what happened in Chakahola, bro. Like, you saw that shit.
That shit was fucked up, man. Like, that is one of the craziest things I've ever seen.
Yeah, I'm still trying to wrap my head around how, like, I don't know, man. Unless you're kidnapped, but still, even if you're kidnapped, like, how do you leave everything you have? And
What I don't understand is we are all on this planet.
yeah.
And then one day somebody comes out of nowhere and convinces you that maybe there's a God and this is what he wants you. Like if you ingest the idea that the person telling you that there's a God is another human being, and this is not to say there's no God or anything, but just somebody convincing you that this is what you need to do. You need to starve for this number of days for you to see that God. This is just like some ordinary guy on the street comes and convinces you about this thing, and you just read along with it and you start fasting.
I feel
think about it that way.
Mackenzie would have been a very good salesman. He would have made a lot of millions, selling a particular software. Like right now, if it was in a different world, that guy would have sold Del Africa millions, bro.
I mean, maybe he sold souls. That's why you see they're saying it's
Probably.
it's making quite, he made quite a killing. These guys are rich. These pastors are crazy rich.
Yeah.
The money is not taxed. It's crazy rich. It's a good business. And you just have to go to work once a week.
Bro, I think we should consider being pastors. I don't know, like, pastor.
No, in the tech industry, you actually need to have somebody who is an in-house evangelist. But Apple has an evangelist. Like there's this guy.
Like, what's the role of an evangelist?
An evangelist.
No, it's not an actual evangelist who actually preaches.
Just somebody who talks well about your product.
Yeah.
So that's an evangelist. Like if there's a presentation or there's a new feature, this is the guy to go there.
But of course, it's not
talk well
like
about it.
it's not.
Apple had someone like that.
It's not an actual evangelist who's actually talks about church and stuff. Yeah.
But being an evangelist covers a very wide spectrum of fails or things that you can do or messages that you can pass to people. If you look at it from the technological perspective, the way Apple had this guy this guy was hired, I just can't remember his name, but he was hired by Steve Jobs himself.
Yeah.
And then this guy was used to it was training, and most of the tech enthusiasts were saying that finding a developer who is over 30 years in Kenya right now is really, they don't know where these developers got. Like most devs are between like 24 to maybe 28 or 29.
Yeah, because you make a lot of money at that age, especially right now. The breed of new devs, the actually companies have to pay a lot more. And then, not even that, it's very hard to find a developer who's actually dedicated to your project. They're usually like doing
Other
one, two,
things,
3 year on the side.
the side.
Yeah, so they make a shit ton of money, they invest in other businesses, then, they move out and they start living life because these guys make a shit ton of money, bro.
So it's probably why most of these industries, like engineering, hospitals, they're now absorbing the in-house developers,
Yeah.
so they can just do things on their own.
Yeah, funny enough, I saw the government, a while back, the government, like the Kenyan government used to like outsource, they would approach people like Safaricom to, build them softwares or build them specific or handle specific projects for them. But right now, they're actually bringing in their own software developers internally to like build for them applications.
Yeah,
So if you went to a government office, you're going to sell a CRM, they tell you, bro, we have our own
yeah.
CRM. Yeah.
But
We all,
probably the hardest thing to do after building a software is maintenance and updates.
Yeah.
It's probably one of the hardest things.
yeah.
So I think that is where they're saying that we really need. Probably they buy a software and then they have somebody maintain it, or do they get their people to build it, or is it customized? Do they just buy a general software then they customize it, or how do they? Most of these agencies work.
And like agencies, it's more of like outsourcing. So they kind of do everything for you. Like get to, um, you get to actually build that stuff yourself. So it's more of like your representative. So if, for example, say Olido wanted marketing to be done for them, in this case would approach an agency. Then this agency would then get now the ability to like fully own the project that we give them, like for the website. So it's more of a contractual basis these days. But agencies, again, it's just like a different niche of business at the end of the day, because it's more of like if you start a marketing agency, or if you start like a sports agency to manage different sports players, but kind of with the ability to now partner with different institutions, like government institutions, maybe people like Athletics Kenya, KRU. But bro, brings me back to this thought, like all sports, okay, for lack of a better word, they're very corrupt, like all sports, the existing,
You have to, like, if you're going to start as a promotion company, you better be friends with some betting company, so that you can rig games and win in your favor. That's how these institutions work. They're really, really corrupt most of the time. So you saw the last time when this guy from Russia tried to bribe some players to lose, something like, I don't know if you
No, I didn't see
came
that.
across it.
I love Russians, man. They're ruthless. But also, corruption is very simple. Unaonanga venye most times wewe unashindanga ukiniambia bro, hebu nitumie ile dondo niende sijui ni get sijui nini na nini na nini. I like that is corruption, bro. Like you need to stop blackmailing me.
That is not corruption. That is like facilitation. The way they call it in the Western world.
No, like how comes?
Corruption is that's facilitation.
But even me when I need something from you, it's corruption. Like I'd ask you, Niaje bro, see you do this though, like to me. But I feel like it's a form of corruption, and it starts and it sticks.
I kind of feel like we are all naturally corrupt. I mean, even, you've seen a small baby
is that
like the mom's boob and still holding the other one. That's how selfish we are.
No, but corruption
selfish
is
people.
I like, is that corrupt, or it's
it's corrupt. Like you have resources.
Because I feel like that's...
Why are you still holding? You already have enough resources in this boob.
Yeah.
Why are you suckling this boob and holding the other?
I think babies are just naturally, I don't know, like.
Just we can't even say
no,
selfish.
like babies are self-centered, bro. Like,
man, they're born to survive, so it's in their in their instincts.
Yeah, so because if you look at when you were born, for example, The amount
So
of
you're going
sacrifices.
to give an example of me as a
Yeah,
baby, or-
because I saw you grow up as a baby, bro. I'm
No,
like,
no. I think I'm about the same age as you.
no, bro. Like, I'm like 10 years older than you.
It makes no sense at all.
How?
Nobody can believe.
Bro, you don't have beards. Like, that's,
Doesn't count.
your,
Still.
your beard are still growing.
Doesn't count.
It still counts. So, okay, right now, if we sat in front of people, and even right now we're in front of people, and we asked like, how old am I? Like, how old do you think I am? Actually,
You you look like you're going through midlife crisis.
bro.
Or you're like you're something between.
No, like I know you feel bad because I dress good.
No, but
It's
I'm rocking all we do here, so it's really not a big
Oh,
deal.
but,
Like if you're rocking with all you do,
Yeah.
there's nothing that anybody can tell you. Like, you're rocking with all you do. You're sponsored by Del Africa.
Yeah.
What is anybody going to tell you?
I don't know, but still, it doesn't change the fact that I'm older than you by 10 years,
Why are we
so.
still moving around this age factor? So while we are at this age factor,
Because I was trying to
yeah.
talk about how I saw you grow up as a kid, and like how I used to carry you, change your diapers and
That will
shit.
be a very belittling story. So we need to move on another topic. We're not going to talk about my diapers and all that. I'm very sensitive about my diapers as a
Cool,
child.
man.
Like, I care. Diapers matter, man. So moving forward, you're one of the people that have seen balance work and life, and also still stay happy at the same time. So I just wanted to understand what's your idea of happiness, or how do you define happiness as a person?
Man, that's a difficult question, bro. Like, I don't know. I guess like life is what you make it. Like, if you,
That's such a cliche quote. Just
I mean, because
like
not
what is
cliche.
happiness to you? What
It's
is
not
happiness
cliche
to
per
you?
se because it's normal. It's basically just those like life philosophies on how you want your life to be. So life again is just what you make it. So you don't take things so seriously because a lot of times we tend to overthink, or when something bad happens to you, you're like, fuck, man. But I don't know if you ever saw that GA ad. You've ever seen it? Like
Not
when
really.
you were, it's like an ad that has it has a tissue and it says, shit happens.
Oh,
Like the role
oh.
has ended. Yeah, so I think like if you take life differently and every time you have a bad time or a bad day, you just say shit happens. And you move on.
So there's this philosophical idea that you should be very strict with yourself as a human being, or you should be very harsh with yourself as a human being. I don't know if that applies to you, or how do you just move with the flow, or do you have some rules, or what are the principles?
Of course, you have to have rules and principles on how you want to live your life. But I think when you look at even the most successful guys out here, they have a specific like set of rules that they live with. But now the thing is, a lot of times, most of these things you have to learn over time. You can't be perfect at everything after some time. So you have to experience, fail, iterate, experience, fail, iterate. Like sometimes even Elon Musk, he says, or he finds himself, like he can wake up whatever time he wants to wake up. You can wake up at 10 and still achieve what you want to do. But there are those people who want to wake up at 5,
Yeah.
and there are those people who want to, sleep through the day and work through the night. Yeah.
So this baseline that success predominantly relies on extreme discipline is more of a fallacy. It's not really something that really works, because for most of the time, sometimes it's luck that finds you.
No,
Sometimes
I
it's
think it's bullshit when you
an
say
idea.
luck finds you. Like you have
Yeah.
to be ready for luck to find you, man.
So if you win a
Like you always
jackpot,
have to be pushing yourself so
Yeah.
that when luck comes,
You're ready.
for it. Yeah.
so if you get like a windfall, you win a jackpot and you're not ready. Isn't that luck?
No, still, if you need to win a jackpot, you probably need to bet so many times, understand how football works. So you can't just. It's very rare, very very rare. Which even then, the person who went to probably place their bet still has to know knowledge of football.
It's actually the odds of winning any bet is
To All We Do podcast, quoting all day and All We Do podcast by night. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram with the profiles you see displayed.